a visual.
Jedi?
I think so.
One of the things that I really focused on from the first season to the second was I wanted it to feel like Star Wars. And so I really concerned myself with getting the feel right. Like you're watching it and you forget that it's a cartoon. And you just believe that it's Anakin, it's Obi-Wan, it's Yoda. You believe those are the characters.
Initially with the first series, they originally were supposed to be commercials. Lucasfilm themselves, they decided that they would be a little longer, so they became longer episodes. But we weren't able to tell a lot of story. It was mostly just action. With the advent of the second series, we actually were able to tell an actual fairly long story, more like a movie, like an animated movie.
I mean, the thing about doing Star Wars is that it's the story. And the story coming from George, not just something we made up. And now going into this, all of a sudden, it's still Clone Wars, but it's the ending of the Clone Wars.
They wanted us to do more of what we had done because it was so successful, but at the same time, they wanted us to actually do the crawl from the opening of the film. So it became more a real part of Star Wars. We had to show Palpatine being kidnapped. We had to have Anakin and Obi-Wan away from the planet and in the Outer Rim territories.
In our heads, we're already formulating what we want to see. Just by the nature of those few words, there's a big battle above Coruscant. And, you know, remnants of Return of the Jedi and what they pull off in Return of the Jedi are still in your head and, you know, all that. So we got that chance to play with the Battle of Coruscant, and we started figuring out that what it is just a big ruse. We actually put that in the cartoon a little bit because we just couldn't wrap our heads around the fact that there'd be this big attack, but the temple is fine and the Senate is fine. So we kind of came up with this own thing, and we have Mace and Yoda discover it.
Strange is the enemy strategy. A massive invasion, but no attempt to take the temple or Senate. Unless an elaborate distraction to hide their primary objective, Palpatine.
Some of the look evolved very kind of naturally in order, and we got a lot of photographs and reference for what the new vehicles were going to be in Episode 3, and they were all hybrids between the TIE Fighter and between the X-Wing Fighter, and you could tell this is the bridging machinery. So we kind of followed along with that, and we made our clone troopers look similar to stormtroopers, and everything started to kind of fall into place, and everything's starting to look like A New Hope. We wanted to almost treat it like one big 3-hour movie, including Revenge of the Sith and what we did. So we started to enhance all those parts in the movie that maybe you didn't have time for.
You're mine, old man.
We had certain goals in mind that we wanted to hit, like on certain people. We wanted to address the friendship between Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Since we know Episode 3 is their friendship has the big falling out, this is our last chance to let people know that they're pals.
In Episode 2, they were bickering, and, you know, you had your big brother, little brother squabbles.
We have a job to do!
I don't care! Put the ship down!
You will be expelled from the Jedi Order!
In Episode 3, the guys show up, and they're good pals, and they're joking around.
I sense a trap. Next move? Spring the trap.
Of course, in Episode 4, old Ben is telling Luke about when he and Luke's dad used to be old pals.
You fought in the Clone Wars?
Yes. I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father.
Just those few sentences created such a mystique, you know, in your brain as a kid going, oh man, what was it like when Luke's dad was cool and Ben was young and they were hanging out and swashbuckling around the universe and the Clone Wars? What the heck was that about? Not everything needs to be totally explained, but definitely knighthood wanted to be explained. That pinnacle moment in Anakin's evolution.
Anakin Skywalker, by the right of the Council, by the will of the Force, dub thee I do, Jedi, Knight of the Republic.
We thought, oh, let's give him the knighthood, but then he's going to have his trials after. And we got excited about that idea, and then we started to structure our story based on that theme. Okay, what situation are we going to put Anakin in that could be like a trial? What George Lucas always says, it's all about mirrors. and kind of like ripples, and the ripples repeat themselves. So we wanted to follow that thing where on Dagobah in Empire Strikes Back, where Luke steps into the cave and he sees Darth Vader, and, and whatever vision that gave him.
When Anakin went into the cave and had his vision, it's kind of like his final trial. It's kind of like a roadmap saying, well, this is what has happened on this planet, and this is what's happening in your life, and they kind of mirror each other, but at the same time, he takes something else from it. He comes away thinking that his actions could hurt Padme, and I think that strengthens his feelings in the third film, because that's a main point in the third film, that he is concerned with her life. And when we show that in the visual, that the cave drawing chokes like the little female Nelvon warrior, it's really just saying, it's telling him that these are future events, but they're not set in stone, and that it's his choices that define who he is.
You really wanted it to be something original, and I really got excited about that, because here's something kind of new, and you really had a chance for the characters to shine.
General Grievous, you're shorter than I expected.
Jedi scum!
When we first did Grievous in Chapter 20, we had very little information about him. He was just being conceived as a main villain for Episode 3. But for this, we had to really explore him more. And George kind of told me about, he had some thoughts about that he was like an old-style villain where he fights, but then when he's losing, he runs away. We had a lot of discussions about lightsabers. How does he know to use lightsabers? Because it's supposed to be like a special gift, and you're supposed to be force sensitive. George kind of told me, maybe Count Dooku teaches him.
How often must I tell you? Control my central line. Good. I've been trained in your Jedi arts by Count Dooku.
And then we got a call that they wanted to introduce Grievous's cough earlier, because our character didn't have it, so we somehow had to maybe link the two together better. And so eventually we ended up doing a little sequence at maybe 2 weeks before we had to deliver, of Mace going out and crushing Grievous's chest, and that's what gives us the connection that all of a sudden he starts coughing.
What's the situation, Captain?
A lot of Star Wars is about kind of reveals. And we got a chance to reveal a lot of things. And we even didn't think of it until we started doing it. We're like, we get to reveal C-3PO's gold plating.
Gold plating?
Oh, yes. In the service of a senator, one must be presentable.
Then we started to explore a little bit of the relationship between Obi-Wan and Commander Cody, where they have a relationship in the movie. So we kind of hinted at that a little bit.
General Kenobi.
Commander Cody.
The siege goes well.
Oh, by the way, I think you'll be needing this. Thank you, Cody.
The one thing that we really wanted to do is just draw Wookiees. As soon as we got approval that we could do something on Kashyyyk, we did.
We found out that what was going to happen in Episode 3, Kashyyyk was going to be invaded, and so we need to get in there with some Wookiees because we know they're going to show up. It was exciting to have a chance to draw Wookiees because you love Wookiees.
Some of the most fun is to take something there's like a drawing in a book or one scene in the movie, and you create a whole world for that character.
Everyone out!
No! We must pursue!
General, we can't.
And the new ones that we did with Roran Cobb, where the race has 4 throats. And we're like, 4 throats, that's a great idea. In our story meeting, we were riffing, and I go, right, and then he's coming at him, and he just yells at him.
Thorians, 4 throats, quite powerful.
So I've heard.
Kenobi, Skywalker, Coruscant is under siege, and General Grievous has abducted the Supreme Chancellor. You must return immediately. You must rescue Palpatine.
Grievous. Battle stations. All crews to their fighters. Prepare to jump into hyperspace. Move!
Lock on to him, R2. Master, General Grievous's ship is directly ahead.
The one crawling with vulture droids.
Oh, I see it. Oh, this is going to be easy.
I think some parts sunk together really well to Episode 3. You can watch it from the beginning of our thing until they land the ship onto Coruscant. That can really feel like one movie.
Another happy landing.
When you actually sit back and you watch it when it's all finished and you look back on it now, you just think that it's a moment of pride.
It's very exciting to have been able to add a little bit to that mythology that sparked my imagination as a kid.
Everything we did, we based on original films, so how could we go wrong? It's going to feel like Star Wars.
I think Star Wars is, it's mythology. It's modern-day mythology that we all can relate to. It's very accessible because you see similar characters to people that you know or who you are inside. If you can create a universe and characters like that, that's what makes it last.